Okay. There's been a few other figures that have you've talked about in the past, and maybe got a bit of maybe incorrect reporting over. I just want to clear this issue up about Osama bin Laden, because you know, there's different ideas about whether you've praised him or not. I just wanted to give you the chance to say, you know, what you think about him. You know, is there anything good to be said about him?
I'm happy to give you exactly the comments that I gave in both Māori and in English.
Yep.
My comments in Māori were: me mihi atu ki aia, e tangi ana ki tōna whānau, e pauri ana I te mate o tētahi wā rātou whanaunga. He ranga tira ki tōna whānau, ki tōna hapu, ki tōna iwi. That's what I said in Māori. What I said in English when they asked me at Parliament was hundreds of thousands of lives and trillions of dollars have been spent and lost, colossal waste of life in pursuit of this one man. Mm. I would sincerely hope that all of that loss can now be put to an end. Sadly, I don't think that'll be the case. That's all I said about him.
Okay.
So those of you who didn't understand the Māori, there is a pretty good translation on Te Karere,
okay,
if you want to go there and find it. The bullshit about Hone Harawira salutes freedom fighter Osama bin Laden wasn't even a translation of what I said. In fact, it was a translation of what the reporter, the interviewer, said to me when he asked me the question.
So what are your thoughts about the media? What's your, you know, after all these years of having so much to do with the media, what's your approach?
Well, the media is a reality, eh? You know, you can hate the media. In fact, you could be like the Māori Party. Their current plan is to they send out a questionnaire, and you've got to answer 13 questions before you can get an interview with them. And of course, so all of the media just stop talking to them, which is dumb. The only thing I expect of the media, if they want me, is that that they dial 021 865 372 and just ask me the questions. The media is there, eh? And you can try to ignore them, and they're going to write their story without your side, or you can try to get your story across. One thing I've come to learn is that live is always best, because they can't chop and change what you have to say, and that you're better off if you get an article to write the article in your own words and get an agreement on editorial control of your particular article, so that they can't take this bit out of the first paragraph and this bit out of the 23rd paragraph and put them together to look like something else.
Okay. Just a wee bit about your personal life. Just a few questions that people have asked to put to you. Religion?
I was born into the Anglican faith. My grandfather was the first padre to the Māori battalion, and I went to St. Stephen's School, so I had a very structured upbringing within the church. I'm not a regular churchgoer.
So you have some sort of faith still?
Well, I've read the Bible, so when I hear people talk about stories in the Bible, I know what it is they're talking about. But I'm not down on my knees every Sunday morning, put it that way. Okay,
fair enough. What do you think about drugs and alcohol? I understand you don't really partake in things like this.
It's not really. I just don't.
You just don't.
I stopped drinking. Must be almost 20 years ago.
Okay.
Because we had a Native American guy over here at the time. 30 years ago. Yeah, about 30 years ago. And after one big action we'd been involved in, we all went back to have a drink. He was standing on the side, this guy from Arizona, and I went over and said, "What's up, bro?" He said, "Oh, no, do you enjoy yourself?" I said, "Well, have a drink." He said, "No, I can't." So one night he said to me, "You can't be a warrior part of the time. Either you're a warrior or you're not a warrior." I went, "Wow." And I was bummed out all night. So I thought to myself, might as well give it away.
Wow.
And he was right. I mean, if you want to put yourself out there as a leader for your people, then you have to show an image that the people are going to look at and say, "Yeah, that's me."
So politics is your whole life, and it's like sport to you, that like an All Blacks not drinking. It's like
I think the All Blacks drink.
Yeah, they probably do actually, but it's a profession for you in the sense that you take it so seriously.
No, it's not a profession.
Okay, it's a
it's
vocation.
It's a I don't know what a vocation is, but it's a conscious choice I make.
Yeah.
That when I go out and talk to people about smoking and why they shouldn't, it's because I don't. And that not only do I not smoke, neither do I drink, neither do I do drugs.
Okay. So is that something that you advocate to other people, or is it, in terms of as a parliamentarian voting on liquor reform, on drug issues, does that...
I think all that liquor reform stuff is just bullshit, quite frankly. Yeah, it's just...
But you're going to have to vote on it.
Fart-arsing around the edges. They're not serious. There's nothing serious in the bill. I mean, they put... The real issue about the liquor reform was access to alcohol and the price of alcohol, and they did absolutely nothing about it. Poor communities up and down the country. You can tell a poor community by the number of liquor outlets.
Yeah.
You know.
So you're saying you want to reduce the number of if you had your way, you'd get rid of some of the supply and cheap alcohol around, or?
Oh, absolutely. I'd certainly ban all liquor outlets in poor communities. And I'd say, if we want to keep them all, let's move them from Otago up to Remuera.
Okay.
And see what happens. See how happy the people are there up there. And they wouldn't be.
But some people would say that's kind of a patronising approach, and you're, it's a kind of way of punishing the poor.
What? To stop them from getting
from making their own free choice? Yeah.
Now, there's no free choice. There's no free choice in destroying one another. There's no free choice in a substance that breaks up families. There's no free choice in a substance that leads to death on the roads.
Okay.
That's not free choice.
So
and it's kind of like tobacco. When they say, and like the tobacco companies are gearing up, and they're going to sue the arse off Australia for the laws that they're about to impose on the tobacco companies. And I think New Zealand's doing the right thing to sort of stand back and watch what happens in Australia. But they're going to use all of these trade agreements to try and force us to allow tobacco to keep being sold.
What about...
liquor's the same.
Okay, so what about drinking age? Is it just irrelevant, or do you support it going up to 20 or 30?
I have a completely different view, and it's a simple one. It's this. If they're old enough to go to war and die for us, then they're certainly old enough to come and drink with us. Hey.
Okay.
We send them to war at 18. It's bullshit to say, but they can't drink till they're 20.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if they want to raise the drinking age to 20, then raise the age of going to war till 20.
Okay.
Hey.
Yep. Good point.
I'd rather raise the drinking age to 173, tell you the truth.
Okay.
And the same age for going to war.
Okay. Now, okay, crowd reaction. Well received. Point. Okay, so on other moral issues, what about drugs then? The same? Keep it all banned?
No,
we're talking about...
drugs, the whole drug thing is... party pools was a classic example. When they banned party pools, I spoke on it in the House, and I said, how many deaths have been recorded as being caused by party pools? None. How many deaths are recorded every single year as a result of alcohol? Heaps.
Okay.
So why are we banning party pools and not alcohol?
So the rest of Parliament's being inconsistent, contradictory, maybe hypocritical.
Oh no! Not only that. What it is old white guys who like to hang on to the drug of their choice, which happens to be alcohol, and banning the drug of choice of other people.
But if you're going to be consistent, you'd want to just ban them all, wouldn't you?
No, I wouldn't. I mean, if there's going to be rules on drug and alcohol, then they should be consistent for all of them.
Okay.
Not just ban DEC, ban party pills, but it's okay for alcohol.
So keep it all on the same level.
I mean, seriously, if they want to ban all of these things for all of those reasons, then ban alcohol at the same time. Hey,
okay,
it actually does more damage.
But therefore, you are advocating the legalisation of, say, marijuana. No. Because you're saying that.
No. You're saying that.
Well, I'm trying to see if you've got a consistent approach to all of them.
I do have a consistent approach to all of it. Alcohol actually leads to death in large numbers in our society, and therefore, access to alcohol needs to be dropped radically, hugely, and immediately.
Okay.
If I thought that party pools were causing that level of damage within our society, I'd want to see the same sort of thing. If I saw that sort of thing happening with DEC, I'd want to do the same sort of thing. I mean, P is the most dangerous drug that I've ever I've ever seen. I've seen it, you know, destroy, you know, within my own family.
Okay.
Completely. You can sit around a table with your brothers and sisters and know that your brother is actually somewhere else, his mind is somewhere else, completely.
Okay. Now I'm getting
Hugely
a few Twitter
dangerous
questions through here to ask you about same-sex
that's
marriages. Now, same-sex marriages, approve or not? Would you, do you think that anyone, regardless of their sex, should be allowed to have a marriage with, you know, someone else of the same sex or whatever?
I'm not a great fan of society of huge choice, to tell you the truth. I might be politically radical, but morally I'm very conservative.
Yeah.
And like, I've got gays within my own whānau. I'm still very much on the edge on that sort of thing, because I just think that, I'll give you a little story. My mum told me once, when my wife and I were thinking of breaking up years ago, she said to us then, she said, well, you know, if you hadn't had any children, I would have said, yeah, if you want to break up, you can break up. But you have children now. You have obligations to others in this world. And while you have obligations to others in this world, you need to honour those obligations. And those obligations include an obligation to one another.
Okay. But isn't there
no, what I'm trying to say is, the whole thing about choices, oh, well, I'm headed with you, I'm going with him, I'm going with you, I'm going with them. You know what I mean? Actually, I don't think that that's a particularly positive development within modern society.
Okay, so too much choice gives us bad outcomes, perhaps.
Well, I think so.
But isn't, I sort of thought you were a believer in human rights, and some people would say that it's a human right that people should be able to have same-sex marriages if...
I don't know that that's a human right. I don't know, for example, I don't know necessarily that it's a human right that a man and a woman should be able to get married. That's not a human right. That's an accepted way of doing things, but it's not a human right. A human right is the right to life, the right to food, the right to water, the right to decent shelter. The rest of it are privileges that we grant to one another at different stages in our
But you often talk
society.
about human rights on all
Yeah,
sorts
that's
of
right,
other...
that's right. Human rights, yeah. When I talk about the tasers, I'm talking about human rights.
Yeah.
Because you get whacked by a taser. You see the cop on the training video, he screamed his head off, and then he fell down on all of these gymnasium mats.
Yeah.
Well, poor little black guys up in Manukau City, they're getting zapped on the side of the road, and when they go down, they're cracking their head on the side of the concrete. You know what I mean? It's that's an issue of human rights, because there's life and death at stake there. Okay. Human rights. But I mean, you know, whether a man is allowed to marry a woman or a man is allowed to marry a man, I don't necessarily think that that's an issue of human rights.
Okay, just one final question on that then.